That's right, the title of this video is true. Not only did I break the world record, but I also beat the TAS in the process of lowering the time even further. I also ended up discovering a strat in this game that no human or TAS has ever managed to do before. And as far as I'm aware, the current world record that I hold is as fast as the game physically allows it to be, and I'll explain that later, but first we need to get into the story of how this even happened. It all started on December 22nd of 2023 when my little brother messaged me on Discord with a screenshot of the Mega Man Legacy Collection leaderboards. He beat my time on the Mecha Dragon challenge by 0.01 seconds and told me should have been 0.01 seconds faster. Now, this is not a challenge that I speed ran. If you don't know, the challenges in the Mega Man Legacy Collection give you gold, silver, or regular medals depending on how fast you beat the challenge. I got gold on every single challenge in the Legacy Collection, and usually once I get a gold medal, I stop grinding to lower the time, especially since the leaderboards on PC are riddled with hackers. But after seeing that my little brother had a faster time than me, I could not allow this to remain the case for long. Later that day, I decided to go for a faster time, and very quickly I ended up lowering my time from an 1851 to a 1568, almost 3 full seconds faster. But of course, my little brother, being related to the best Mega Man player in the world, also felt competitive and decided to try to beat my time once again, leading him to get a 15.56 second record, once again being faster by a fraction of a second. At this point, the times are going to be harder and harder to lower exponentially. Just lowering those 3 seconds from my original time took me from number 6,000 on the leaderboard to 1,700, and my brother, after getting his time, was sitting at 1,600. But of course, I could not let this stand, so I ended up coming up with a new strategy that would get me into the top 200 times. Originally, we were doing this challenge as intended: do the platforming, of course, wait for the dragon to spawn in, switch to quick boomerang, and kill him as fast as possible. But I realized that if you get a good pattern and just use your plain old dudes, you don't have to waste any time pausing. So with this in mind, I ended up grinding my time all the way down to a 13.36, a full 2 seconds faster than my brother, which put me in the top 200 times on the leaderboard. When I told my brother about this, he was surprised at how much lower the time had gotten, but of course, because I am a good sport, I told him the new strategy of not pausing and just hoping to get a good RNG pattern. So my little brother got to work once again trying to beat my record, and after standing over his shoulder and watching him for about 10 minutes, he lowered his time all the way down to a 12.96 seconds. He got great RNG and mashed just about as fast as humanly possible. Now, from what I was able to tell at the time, the world record for this category was a 12.76, a fifth of a second faster than my brother's time. This is roughly 10 or 11 frames faster than my brother at a 60 frames per second game, meaning it's time for me to put my foot down and get the world record or come very close if I want to beat my brother's time. If you look at the leaderboards, you'll notice that this first place world record is not the #1 time, but that's because on PC there are tons of hackers. You can verify these runs by looking at the replays and seeing if they actually beat the stage in the given time. But every single run above the 12.76 seconds that I checked were blatant cheaters because they would die about 3 to 4 times and have times way over 30 seconds that were somehow edited to look like a faster time. I don't know how this works, I don't know what Capcom should do about it, but it made finding the world record run more difficult than it should be, and this will come up again later. But with my brother having a 12.96 and the world record being a 12.76, which again is only 10 or 11 frames faster, I had two choices. I either had to grind for hours to get the perfect pattern and execution, or find another way to do it. After trying a few times and failing to get a sub 13, I decided to look at the TAS of Mega Man 2 speedrun. If you don't know what TAS is, it stands for Tool Assisted Speedruns, and it basically means that you go into the game and put in the perfect inputs every single frame to make sure you get the most perfect run possible. Lots of TAS strats end up becoming impossible for human beings to do because of this. Not only because they're incredibly hard, but also some of them are just impossible in general to do on a controller. For example, in the Mega Man 1 TAS, there are several glitches that rely on you pressing up and down on the D-pad at the exact same time on the same frame, which is literally impossible because the D-pad will not allow that input. This is just one example. TASs can get very complicated, but anyway, I just wanted to point that out. But even though I knew that already, I decided to check the Mega Man 2 TAS run anyway to see if there were any new ideas I could try, because frankly, I did not want to sit there for roughly 12 to 13 seconds over and over again praying for the god RNG and hoping I executed when the time came. Now, I've watched the Mega Man 2 TAS speedrun before on multiple occasions, but I actually forgot about a glitch the TAS does here that's never been done before in a real speedrun. The TAS somehow uses quick boomerang to lag the game and cause a delay scroll, beating the level and skipping the entire dragon fight. But it turns out this delay scroll glitch opened up a huge can of worms. Not only has it never been performed in a real speedrun done by humans, but most people don't even fully fully understand how it works. The basic premise is that if you manage to lag the game just enough but not too much, and then get to the bottom of the screen where the death barrier is, you can sometimes get the game to forget to check if you're able to change rooms at the death barrier, allowing you to change rooms somewhere you shouldn't be able to. You just watched it be done against the dragon fight, but the only other spot in the entire game I've ever seen this done is at the end of Bubble Man stage to save a few seconds. And once again, it's only ever been done by TAS. On top of this being unknown and practically impossible for human beings, there are very few videos about this at all on the internet and almost no guides at all. In fact, to put it more accurately, there are 0 videos going into details about this on the internet from what I could find, and only 1 video that talks about it at all. And in that video, they don't even talk about it, they just show gameplay. And the way that I found this video is another funny story. I ended up showing my brother the TAS run and told him I was going to try to figure out a way to do this on the Legacy Collection, and of course he did not believe it was possible because any reasonable human being would not. Plus, he wanted to keep his time better than mine. Who would blame him? But I told him I remember watching a Twitch streamer named Satoko Addict 96 who happens to have the 5th best time in the any % section of Mega Man 2 speedrun, and I saw him trying out this glitch in practice sessions. Once I saw this glitch, I remembered asking him about it in the chat whenever I did see it, but I did not fully remember the explanation. All I remembered was that he used item number 1 and it looked like he was getting hit by the dragon's blocks to trigger the delay scroll. On top of that, in about an hour of attempts, I believe he successfully got it 2 times, even with save states. Now, this is not to say this guy is a bad speedrunner. He is literally the number 5 Mega Man 2 speedrunner in the entire world. This should just emphasize how hard this glitch is, even with the item number 1 strategy. But because me and my brother were now curious about this glitch, we wanted to find some more information. So my brother decided to join the Mega Man speedrunning Discord and ask around about the glitch. And just after the clock hit midnight and it became Christmas Eve, the first ever Christmas miracle of this video occurred when Satoko Addict himself came to reply to my brother and explain how the glitch worked. He basically said that you need to cause the perfect amount of lag, not too much and not too little. Then jump into the death barrier with a frame perfect timing, and then depending on the subpixels of your item number 1 platforms and the position of the background music playing, you might trigger the delay scroll. Meaning not only is there a frame perfect input, but the subpixels of the platforms matter, and so does the exact position of the Wily 1 music playing in the background. He then went on to say it would take up to thousands of tries just to get the glitch to work once. My brother then asked, of course, how the music had anything to do with this glitch, and even Satoko Addict himself said he didn't know and you would need to ask a TASer. But even with all that information, the most useful thing he did was link a video of someone doing it in real time without the help of TAS. He was using an emulator that gave him a lot of information that we don't have, but it was video evidence that it was possible to do by a human being, and it was footage that we could look at. This video showed basically everything we needed to know to attempt this glitch in the Legacy Collection, except there was one big problem. The music position is completely different in the YouTube video than it is in the Legacy Collection challenge, meaning it should be impossible to even perform this glitch in the challenge. But knowing this information was not enough to make me give up. I've been speedrunning Mega Man 2 for over 10 years, and if I were to let my little brother have a better time than me, I might as well just retire. But right when things were looking hopeless and impossible, I read the comment section of this video and noticed someone pointing out that people were doing this glitch on the PlayStation 4 leaderboards on the Mega Man Legacy Collection. This doesn't make any sense because the music positioning is completely different, so everything I understand about this glitch would make that impossible. Now, a random YouTube commenter could always be lying or wrong, but I thought I would check the Xbox One leaderboards to verify. I could check the ones on PC, but there are so many hackers that there's really no point. Also, I do not have a PlayStation 4, so the Xbox One leaderboards would have to do. And sure enough, I found out that the top time for this challenge on the Xbox was a 4.06 seconds, and after watching the replay, I could confirm that this was legit. But how is this possible? Well, it turns out there's a lot more to this complicated glitch than everyone seems to think. While you can painstakingly try this glitch time and time again to the exact music cue in the level, there's another way to do it. If you pause the game on the exact frame that the dragon spawns in, you can cancel out his roaring sound effect. I don't know this for sure, but it seems like this is enough to mimic whatever lag effect the music had over the game. This, of course, turns the trick into a double frame perfect trick that leads to your death if you mess it up, but after figuring this out, we at least know it's more consistent to set up. So Mega Man 2 speedrunners, take note and keep watching. This could be some useful information. I ended up trying over and over to figure this out until I got a 4.45 seconds on my Xbox One, crushing my brother's time by over 8 full seconds. The game was officially changing in our sibling rivalry, but it did take me about 15 minutes just to get even one successful run. Not just because of the frame perfect tricks you have to perform, but also because at the very beginning you have to do 2 very particular jumps perfectly as well. My initial strategy to set this up was to press right 3 times as fast as I can, then do 2 short jumps. This should make it to where you're just under the dragon when he spawns in, button, allowing you to do the frame perfect pause. If you're in the wrong positioning, you will get insta-killed by the dragon. But now that I know it's not only possible, but also understand the inner workings of this glitch better than I ever have, it was time to grind. So I went back to my PC and grinded the time all the way down to a 4.21 and eventually a 4.06, which at the time I thought tied the world record. But then I realized that in the midst of all the hacked glitches in the PC Legacy collection, there was one seemingly legit run that had a 4.05. Now this looks like a TAS, but I cannot confirm it. It is literally 0.01 seconds faster than the other world record on the Xbox One, which is the same small amount of time my little brother beat my time to begin this whole charade. But I decided that meant it was time to keep grinding down until I eventually got a 3.80, the first ever sub 4 second run to my knowledge. But even after getting this new world record, I knew my brother would try to beat it. So again, because I'm a good sport, I explained to him how this glitch worked in the Legacy collection and showed him how to do it. After about 20 minutes of me helping him set it up and showing him the exact frame to pause on, he managed to figure out the glitch on a triple pause buffer.
For whatever reason. Whoa! Triple pause! Triple pause!
And after just a few more attempts, he even got a 3.76, once again beating my time and getting the world record.
Oh! I beat your time! I beat your time! I beat your time!
I'm gonna have to go get the world record.
This started a flame in both of us to get the absolute best possible time on this glitch, so we went to war. Thus began the race for the world record, because now we were both in too deep to not continue to push the boundary. At this point, it's 5 in the morning on Christmas Eve, and we're both at our PCs going for the world record. First, I found a more consistent setups with the jumps, which made things way easier. Instead of pressing right 3 times fast and going for it, I figured out you can do a normal jump to the next platform, then a tall jump, and it works pretty much perfectly every single time. And after about 10 or so minutes, I got the world record once again with a 3.71, and of course went to my brother's room to brag about it. This made him come up with the idea to use turbo and make the platforms come out all at once, causing even more lag and letting us beat the challenge potentially faster, which was proven in this clip where he got a 3.73, 0.02 seconds away from my world record.
The turbo works!
And if you're wondering why all these clips are coming from his perspective on his PC, by the way, I just don't have clipping software on my PC, so I'm sorry about that, I guess. Anyway, I kept helping him out and experimenting with everything until this happened.
Oh!
No way.
No way.
No.
Once again, my brother had beaten my time by 0.01 seconds, but this time he's also stolen the world record from me, meaning I was going to have to steal it back. I kept grinding and grinding for about another 5 minutes until once again I got the world record at 3.68, the first sub 3.7 run to ever be recorded. And after getting this run, I immediately felt like it may have actually been frame perfect because the menuing was very good and the glitch triggered what seemed like as early as possible. I even told this to my brother, but of course he did not give up. At this point, the world record was being passed back and forth like a basketball at a Harlem Globetrotter show, but my brother did not give up. But because it was about 6 in the morning at this point, I decided to go to bed because I was obviously tired. But my brother kept playing, and I woke up to a text from him saying he tied my world record 3 times at a 3.68. And now he was also convinced this may be as far as we could push the boundary. And later he showed me the clip of his first time tying my record.
Oh my god!
Back to base to make frostbark boots and use the rest of the day to travel further up to the surface. Though this adventure was kind of...
I'm not sure what YouTube video he was watching, but that sigh of disappointment should show you that we were really going through it at this point. During the afternoon on Christmas Eve, once we were both awake again, I brought up trying to grind the time down even further, but my brother seemed exhausted and convinced that a 3.68 was as far as it could possibly be taken. Little did my little brother know I am the best Mega Man player to ever live, so I was not going to give up that easily. So of course the grind began once again. I think I spent around an hour trying to get a faster time than 3.68, but I only ended up tying it over and over again. I think I got a 3.68 7 or 8 times until the second Christmas miracle of this video occurred. For some context, me and my brother are both playing on the PC version of the Legacy Collection, except he's playing on the keyboard while I'm playing on an Xbox One controller. This is a small detail, but it makes stuff like menuing easier for him due to being on a keyboard while I have to use the crummy Xbox One controller D-pad. This of course did not stop me from getting any world records, but it did make me misclick and choose the wrong weapon a lot. Roughly half of my attempts were lost due to accidentally selecting item number 2 or crash bomb, which were on either side of item number 1. But in one of the attempts, I once again misclicked and chose item 2 without realizing it. Except instead of failing the challenge and dying, this happened. Not only was I the first ever human being to get this glitch with item number 2, but I lowered the time down all the way to a 3.50, meaning not only was this the world record, but it also beat any TAS entry using item number 1. This is of course because in the menuing you save a few frames, not having to get up an extra space in the menu, and I think the glitch may even trigger faster somehow, but I was in disbelief. How could this happen? No one has ever done this! Not only were we pushing the boundary of this glitch by triggering it on the dragon scream as opposed to the tricky musical cue, but now I've done the glitch with item number 2. When I showed my brother, he was also in disbelief, but suddenly all of his motivation returned and he wanted to do the same thing. It didn't take long for him to hit the same glitch with item number 2, and he also got exactly a 3.50.
I'm gonna pass this just to beat you.
I beat the test.
Oh! I tied it! Again!
Same thing I did.
No!
The equipment.
We were once again tied for the world record. Both of us ended up getting this glitch over and over again, but 3.50 was the exact same time every single time, meaning this was probably a frame perfect trick that can't be pushed any faster. On top of that, this was also a less consistent glitch than doing it with item number 1. We got it significantly less often, meaning unless there is another tech discovered in this glitch, this is where the world record will stand forever. Also, at this point, my brother thought it was funny that Satoko Addict said it would take thousands of attempts to hit this glitch even once, and that it heavily relied on the music cue, despite both of us hitting it collectively over 100 times in just a couple of hours, and on a completely different music cue. So he decided to go back in the speedrunning Discord, edit his very first message to say reply if you are noob, and delete all of his other messages, meaning the Mega Man speedrun Discord now looks like this. I'm pretty sure no one has noticed this yet, but I do think it is a pretty funny victory lap by my brother. My victory lap was an actual award from Capcom. They sent me this trophy commemorating my world record. Okay, that's not true. This is just what my brother happened to get me for Christmas, but it looks like a trophy, and I'm still on top of my brother in the leaderboards because I got the time first, and I think I hit it more times than him as well. And if you are wondering what I got my brother for Christmas, it was a whoopee cushion. I hope he likes it. Anyway, that's the story on how I got the world record for this challenge and beat the TAS. I still don't know for sure if that 4.05 run was TAS, but even if it wasn't, any TAS using the only known Legacy Collection glitch with item number 1 is still slower than my new 3.50 time. We ended up checking the leaderboards on the Switch as well, and while there were actually a few sub 4-second times, no one had even come close to a 3.50. And sadly, I cannot check the PlayStation 4 leaderboard, but I do assume it's the same story, meaning all because my brother decided to beat my original time of an 18.51 by 0.01 seconds on this silly challenge. We not only both got the world record and destroyed it, but also found some never before discovered tech in Mega Man 2, and quite possibly even a more consistent setup than what was originally being tried. So hey, if you're a Mega Man 2 speedrunner watching this video, you should really look into these discoveries because you have the potential to save around 10 seconds in your run, which is a crazy time save. But anyway, that was the story, and that's where the record stands today. You can even check the leaderboards on PC, and if you check them on Xbox, you'll see my first time ever hitting the glitch. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this story, and I hope you guys have a great new year in 2024. And one more time to all you Mega Man 2 speedrunners, I want you to rename this glitch. You guys call it the delay scroll? I'm giving you two options. Either rename it to the dragon scroll, which it should have been named in the first place, or if you end up using my item number 2 tech that I discovered, rename it to the Tooterp strat. Come on, I deserve this.